Hey guys, I'm Sai and welcome to Ace Podcast Nation. On the channel, we have interviews, podcasts, and content on all sorts of subjects from wrestling, football, films, TV, conspiracy theories, music, and more. We have our unique series, Unscripted and Uncensored, where we let the people ask the guests the questions and decide what we talk about, which is always a good time. Always have an interesting experience because you never know what people are going to ask. We've had all sorts of different characters and guests on that show, from UFC stars to cage warriors, fighters to boxers to footballers, an actor, a clothes designer. Whatever you want, we've got. We also have our interesting series, My Story, which is where we take our guests through their life and career, and they share anecdotes and memories as we go along. Always a good time. And we've got a new show of that coming out Sunday with former WBO world champion Robbie Regan, which I'm really looking forward to everyone hearing, because he's an exceptional boxer, exceptional man, and he's a really, really interesting dude. So it's going to be good. Tonight we are talking wrestling. This is an episode of Keepin It Real with my buddy Andrew Thompson. I'm also recording another wrestling show later in the week with TalkSport US editor Alex McCarthy, and we're going to have a chat about the graps. But tonight we are talking WrestleMania nights 1 and 2, the wild and weird WrestleMania like never before. And joining me to take us through it all is none other than post-wrestling writer and interviewer, YouTube interviewer in his own right, also videographer for Baller TV.
Hey,
Mr. Andrew Thompson.
Custom URL.
Custom
on the
URL. YouTube.com/Andrew Thompson interviews. Subscribe.
So what's going on, brother? How you doing?
I'm okay, man. I'm a bit tired and sore, but I'm good because obviously I watched WrestleMania. I think I fell asleep. I watched up to them about 30 minutes into the Edge match live, which is really good for me because like normally it's too late and I just watch it the next morning. But it started a bit earlier in the UK than it normally does, so I watched about half of it last night, but I only had a few hours sleep, and then I watched the rest this morning.
You grinded on the podcast, man. You the UK's, you Cardiff's Conrad Thompson, going hard with the podcast.
Oh yeah,
doing
man.
Something different all the time.
Last couple of weeks, we've had like 4 or 5 shows out every week, different guests, different subjects, all sorts of stuff. Apart from the shows I mentioned, which I got coming out this week, I'm recording a show. Obviously, recording this now with you. Just done a live show. Tomorrow, I'm recording an episode of The Boot and the Limp with stand-up comedian Barry Phillips, which is basically that's like our X-rated adult-only podcast where we we swear lots and just talk about the world, and just Barry's like a stand-up comedian. So he's very, very funny. But we just don't hold back and we just talk a lot of.
No, when you say X-rated, my mind went somewhere else, bro.
Yeah, we both sit there naked and we just stare at each other. No, it's good fun because it's nice to just let loose, and we don't watch our language. Last week we exchanged a load of jokes which were quite filthy, and we just have a bit of fun, nice and relaxed, and probably not one for the easily offended, but it's nothing too bad. Like, it's just a lot of swearing, so like for people who don't like swearing, that show's probably not for you. But
I was listening to this like you said, comedy and laughing and stuff. I was thinking about MVP is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was on Instagram Live, and he was talking about when he went to visit the UK one time, and he was at one of his friends' party. It was like a real fancy party, like real big party, and he went in there, and it was like a back room, like I guess it was like the VIP room. There's a whole bunch of lovely looking young ladies in there, and he went in there and he said they ain't pay like not a bit of attention to him, like acted like he wasn't even there, like completely. So he went over there. He went over there and asked one of the girls to pass him like a bottle of wine or something like that. And she looked at him. She was like, "Are you a Yank?" And her whole demeanor changed. And that's what everybody they said. That's what everybody started talking to him once they found out he was an American. It was
Yeah, man.
hilarious, bro. Like the accent he did was hilarious. That's what killed. He was like, "Are you a Yank?" It was hilarious. That was hilarious, bro. But yeah, me and Sai, we're going to be recapping WrestleMania 36 live from the Performance Center. A whopping attendance of 0. It was a lively place tonight with Mr.
Right.
Byron Saxton, Tom Phillips, and JBL and
Yeah,
Michael
what was
Cole on
that
commentary.
about? What was
JBL on
that
commentary.
about? Why didn't they
Hey,
have Corey Graves?
he quarantining with Carmella.
But he was on the
That
pre-show.
that was pre-recorded.
Yeah, but it was all pre-recorded, wasn't it?
Yeah. But I think the what's the name show was the pre-show was before like WrestleMania was taped.
Okay. Because I was confused. I just thought if he was able to do the pre-show, why didn't he do the commentary? But
All right.
I'm just not a fan of JBL's commentary at all.
Hey, would you rather have JBL or Jerry the King Lawler?
Oh, God. I think I'd rather
Yeah, exactly. Whoa, you
J
ready?
Jerry, J Jerry or J Jerry L. I don't really want either. But then that hurt it a little bit for me is that I don't really like JBL. I'm not a massive fan of Byron Saxton, so I had like one commentator on either partnership, which I didn't really like. But we'll get into the commentary because there was a certain match on my night 2 where I thought the commentary absolutely made the match so much worse. Because it was like they were commentating on golf or snooker or something. It was really weird, like. But yeah. And did you not notice that in the Edge match?
Yeah, they were quiet.
They were like, "Oh, and he's done an RKO." Oh
Yeah,
my God,
it was quiet the whole match for the most
he's
part.
just so weird. Like it just didn't fit. What did you
I
think overall of the 2 nights?
thought it was good for what it was. I actually enjoyed it. It was like because I went in there with like not low expectations of the in ring quality, but low expectations of like the excitement because there was no crowd. So I thought that was
Yeah.
gonna take a lot away from the show, but it was actually way better than I thought it was. I enjoyed the show. Like, I mean, I it was some finishes I really didn't agree with, but I mean,
God,
at the end of the day, I mean, they still went out there and they did it, and I wasn't bored on Saturday and Sunday night, so it is.
yeah, I went in like I said to you, I've been struggling to really get into the matches in AEW and WWE just with the empty arenas. It just takes something away from it, and I have struggled even with some of the really good matches. I've struggled to get into it, and that's not because the in ring, quality or storytelling has been bad. I just the atmosphere it just feels kind of flat and a bit weird.
Oh,
Oh, he's back.
so
Yeah, it just feels like a bit weird. The atmosphere feels a bit flat and strange. But like you just said, both night 1 and night 2, there was no point where I was bored. I enjoyed. I'd say I paid attention to everything. I never looked at my phone or kind of got distracted, which I think is a good thing. And I think that WrestleMania should be 2 nights forever.
okay, I'm actually interested to see what they do going forward, since seeing as how it was it was somewhat of a success for the 2 night event. But see, the thing with that is now, do you like because ticket prices are going to go up if they decide to do a 2-part WrestleMania that extends people's travel somewhat. It's a lot of factors that come in with it. And like I think with the thing with New Japan, I think the thing that they had like such an advantage going into that as far as attendance and stuff like that is because they announced that was announced like a year in advance. So people already knew what was going on. Like it was at least 6 or 7 months in advance. People already knew it was going to be a 2-night event, so you could prepare for that financially and stuff like that. But see, WWE didn't really have to worry about that, as far as people come and go. Like it was just like this is going to be 2 nights. But see, if they try to do this in next year in Inglewood with however many people is going to be there, 70,000, 60,000, I think they need to announce this like
around SummerSlam.
Around something like you need to announce this ASAP. Like
But I gotta say, I much prefer 2 nights of
definitely
3 hours and a bit than one night of 8
hours.
hours.
Yeah, definitely.
But the problem is, I just think that with a crowd, they will extend if they do 2 nights, they'll extend it, so they'll do like 4 or 5 hours on each night, and I don't need that. Like 3.5 hours.
You want to know one thing I really enjoyed, honestly? Keep the pre-show match at 1, please. Like
I don't mind the pre-show matches. I don't mind having 3 pre-show matches with the third one being like a main event. So like when they've had like the cruiserweight title on the pre-show where it's been like Neville versus, I can't remember who it was, Neville versus someone or a women's title. Yeah. I don't mind that if they do it like properly, like the UFC does, where they build up each match and make it more important, so that when you get to that cruiserweight title or whatever, like the main event of the pre-show, it feels special. It doesn't have to be 2 hours long, the pre-show, though, even if you do that, because I don't need to see all those video packages and just give me the interviews, which they do, which you've never seen before with the different stars, and that's it. I don't need to see a panel of former wrestlers giving their predictions on a predetermined event. I don't need that for my pre-show. I'd rather see 3 matches, a couple of interviews with the wrestlers who have got matches to build up their matches later in the night, and then that's it. I don't need to see video packages, which I've seen 10 million times on Raw and SmackDown. That's just my
I think NXT actually does like the pre-shows correct because it's only 30 minutes. And it's not really filled with video. It's more so just interview, just a quick recap of everything that's gonna go down tonight, and then they straight into the show, and the 30 minutes just fly by. Then like the last 5 minutes of the show was somebody coming out hyping the show up, like Pat McAfee or somebody like that, just just taking just killing some time. I think that's always cool. But for night 1 of WrestleMania, we had Cesaro against Drew Gulak. Cesaro defeated Drew Gulak just under 5 minutes. Cesaro brought back his old finishing maneuver, which he used from his days on the independent scene. The airplane spin torture rack finish maneuver. I thought that was hella cool. Cesaro's the man. I'm glad that they. I mean, I'm not really gonna complain about the time because they got a lot in that short period of time. And it was good to see that there was no interference. They just had a straightforward match, and both of them got to get their stuff in.
Yeah, I think for what it was good. Here's a question for you quickly, just not to digress for too long. Would you like to see Drew Gulak join Sami Zayn's stable and turn on Daniel Bryan?
No, I would honestly rather see Drew Gulak just come to the realization that he helped Daniel Bryan get that title shot. So like it's like more of a thing where Drew Gulak will, since you couldn't get it done, maybe I'll get it done, and he actually gets it done, and then that leads to something between him and Daniel Bryan, and we can finally get that rematch because they had a banger at Elimination Chamber. So I think it'd be good to see that.
I'd also wouldn't be against the Drew Gulak and Daniel Bryan tag team, where they just portray a couple of shooters, and especially if they end up doing a tag team tournament now after Mania, because I do feel they could do with building up the tag team division on both shows, and I feel like either one big huge tournament between both brands of tag teams, or some sort of like couple of tournaments just to really cement some tag teams, because when the Revival is nowhere to be seen and they're probably leaving, we need to get some solid tag teams going So you could have Gulak and Daniel Bryan, Cesaro and Nakamura. Obviously the three from the title match. Heavy Machinery. Who else have you? I wouldn't mind seeing a tag team come up.
Cedric Alexander and Ricochet.
No, and Ricochet's got to. He's got to go, and they've got to give him.
Ricochet ain't doing nothing, bro.
They've got to do something with him.
He gonna be in the tag team with Cedric Alexander.
If they don't make Ricochet a main event level star by 2024, then I think he goes down as one of the biggest failures of all time on their behalf.
Oh, okay.
Because he has everything you need. I know his mic skills are not up to it, and I think he could do with a manager. And if he ever turns heel, they need to put him with either Sami Zayn or Zelina Vega and push him to the moon, because he's so talented, so exciting in the ring. And get rid of that, oh, superheroes are real, man, shit. Because do you know what was even worse than the superheroes are real? Was, oh, I'm just an ordinary guy. But you're not an ordinary guy, because you can do triple twisting fucking backflips, and normal people can't do those things. So I'm grumpy. I'm tired, so I'm grumpy. I apologize.
This is about to be a fun. It's about to be a fun podcast, man.
Oh yeah, no holding back tonight.
But yeah, Cesaro got the W over Drew Gulak in 4 minutes. Next up to kick.
Sorry to interrupt you, Cesaro, another one who should have been in at least a few main events and had at least a few world title shots, even if he hadn't won the title. Another wasted talent on their behalf, because they don't know how to book. Sorry.
I would speaking of Cesaro, I always found it interesting when Vince McMahon did that interview with Stone Cold on the network, and Stone Cold asked him about Cesaro, and he was just like, Cesaro was just missing, I guess that one thing, and I don't know what, I can't remember what that one thing. I don't know if it had something to do with his mic skills or.
I think it was more his personality or his
personality.
But
yeah, that's what it was.
Don't you think since that interview, there's been he's done various different kind of gimmick changes, not massive gimmick changes, but just slight alterations to his gimmick.
He trying, bro.
Think he's shown that he's actually a really funny dude, and he's got a really good personality, and he connects with the audience every time.
Real quick, I think that's another thing, just a disconnect of what that person sees themselves as and what WWE wants them to be, or what Vince McMahon wants them to be. Like you even heard that during the Luke Harper interview. Vince McMahon only saw Luke Harper as this big Southern dude who beat the hell out of people. Luke Harper was like, bro, I'm from Rochester, New York. I can speak well. I'm he's very well spoken.
Yeah, I'm very badass.
I can go in the ring. I can actually talk. You can do so much more with me, but all Vince McMahon saw is this big redneck.
He just saw Bruiser Brody, didn't he?
Probably, and it's the same thing with Cesaro. He probably see this bruiser of a dude who's strong as hell. He can go in the ring with anybody, and Cesaro's probably like, bro, I'm funny as hell. I can do other stuff, but I mean but look, when you sign that contract, bro, yeah, of course. I mean, yeah.
Do you know where I think they dropped the ball the most in terms of getting him to a main event level? Is when they went through that period of giving Paul Heyman different guys, and he had Cesaro and Ryback and
Curtis Axel.
I thought when he went,
Curtis Axel was the man.
Well, I thought Cesaro, when he went with Heyman, I thought they gave up on it too quickly, because I actually feel like Heyman, I think if they'd stuck with that, I think Heyman could have got him over as a killer and as a machine, of a wrestling machine, that kind of 1,000 holds and submission and a bruiser, and I feel like he could have got over with Heyman as his manager, but they gave up on it quite quick. And Curtis Axel got over for a short time with that, and I just think
he won the IC title.
Yeah, and I just think with Cesaro, they just gave up on him a bit quick. Even when they had that horrible We the People gimmick, when they did the turn finally, he was over as hell, and they just gave up on it like weeks later.
They
Every
should have.
time he gets over, they give up on him.
He should have. He should have had a shot at the title after he won the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal.
Well, that's the massive issue, isn't it? Every time someone wins that battle royal, they win nothing.
Yeah, some stakes to it. Like you need to earn a title shot or something. Like make it mean something. Like Arn Anderson. Arn Anderson had this great idea, bro, of that match when he was like, he initially thought that the Big Show should have won the first 3 Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royals, and then that 4th time, like when people get so used to it, they're gonna be like, oh yeah, Big Show win this shit every year, whatever. And then you have somebody else win it, like a Cesaro, and then that's when you add stakes to it, and you make it mean something. Like after that, because then it's like you already established that the Big Show is like the ultimate winner of this match, and then you just do the swerve one year, and then people gonna pop for it and go crazy, and then you end up putting some stakes to that match, and then just keep rolling it from there. But this is like a pre-show thing to just take up time every year.
But when you go back and watch the one that Cesaro won, the crowd popped big.
Oh yeah, they went crazy.
And
they went crazy.
All they need to do is say, whoever wins the Andre the Giant Battle Royal can have a title shot of their choice, but they're not allowed a world title shot or something, because otherwise it's just what's the point in the Royal Rumble?
And Money in the Bank that follows.
Yeah. So you just say you can have a shot at the IC title, the US title, the tag team titles, the Cruiserweight title, the NXT title, but you can't have a shot at the North American title, but you can't have a shot at the 3 world titles. And I just think that straight away, say, who won it last year?
Braun Strowman.
So you have Braun Strowman wins it, and he goes, right, I want a US title shot, and he goes after the US title.
Fair point. Next up on the card, we had Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross defeating Kairi Sane and Asuka for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship.
What did I tell you before when we talked about this? What did I tell you, man?
We both said it. Yeah, we both called it. Yeah, we both said that they were gonna. We think that the Kabuki Warriors should retain, but as far as what WWE had planned, we both knew that Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross were gonna win. I'm interested to see what they're gonna do since Friday Night SmackDown is gonna be live this Friday. First of all, what did you think about the match overall, and the decision to take the titles off Kairi and Asuka? And do you think that this may be the Asuka jumping back into the singles division?
So firstly, I thought the match was much better than I thought it was going to be. I really enjoyed it. They kept me engaged. Nikki Cross is really good. I don't like her gimmick. I think it's really goofy. I'd like to see her in a more serious kind of gimmick where she's a bit like aggressive, but like in a more like serious way. She could still be like crazy and stuff like she is, but I'd like to see her not go away from like the Alexa Bliss light gimmick, if that makes sense. But the match overall, I really enjoyed. Alexa Bliss is talented as hell. Asuka is one of my favorite wrestlers in the world, male or female. And Kairi Sane's elbow drop is just a thing of beauty. She is as a team, they're so talented, and I wouldn't be against. Normally, I'd be against just putting the 3 Asian ladies together, but I would not be against keeping Asuka and Kairi Sane as a tag team and bringing up. So I wouldn't be against giving them a rematch on Friday. And as Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross look like they're about to win, Io Shirai pops up through the thing or from under the apron and cracks Alexa Bliss with like a big kick or something, and they win the titles back, and they do have a trio, a nice stable of killer Japanese women, and Io Shirai go after the singles title, and maybe to prolong the build for Sasha Bailey, which we'll talk about in a bit. You could add in Io Shirai as like a third. The only problem with adding her straight to the title picture would be obviously that if she doesn't win, she's going to look like Rhea and Shayna. But I would like to see Io Shirai as the third member of this team. I think it would be really unique if they all refused to speak a lot of English and scream in Japanese while killing fools. Um, the decision to put Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross over, we predicted it. I thought it was dumb then. I think it's dumb now. Um, I wanted to see the Kabuki Warriors have a long reign into this year, and then when they finally lost, I had no problem if they lost to Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross at SummerSlam or Survivor Series, but in front of a crowd to get that big pop, I didn't see the need to take the titles off them now. It seems counterproductive.
Yeah, I agree. I think for the most part, I don't think Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross should have won the titles, but that's where we at now. As far as Io Shirai joining the Kabuki Warriors, I don't think that's a good idea because I just don't think the reception of that is gonna be as good as people might think. I just think it's a lot of connotations that's gonna come with that a lot of people like. I just don't think that's a good idea. I think you need to separate because like that's kind of the same thing as like just putting like every black wrestler together and like it's like sort of the same thing, like it just pairing up most Japanese wrestlers together.
I do understand that, and I think I would have been against it initially if you'd said to me before they put the Kabuki Warriors together, but because they've worked so well together and got over so much, I think adding like a killer third could be a good way to give them a little boost after losing the titles. And also, you've got a triple threat or a breakaway singles feud in your back pocket at any time where you could have them implode and do a triple threat, which would be incredible, or you could have an Oscar versus Io Shirai where they kind of fight over leadership, or there's many ways you could go. However, I say all that, I'm also very happy to see Io Shirai win the ladder match and face Charlotte Flair and kick her blonde ass. That was bullshit. But anyway.
So for my prediction, I think this Friday we probably gonna see the Iconics return and challenge Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross for the titles. I think that'll be something very interesting. The Iconics haven't been on TV and I can't even remember how long. So it'll be interesting to see if they make a return and get back into the women's tag team division.
Think they'll drop the titles quite quickly?
No,
they don't seem to care about the women's tag team titles. They don't seem to mind hot potatoing them around a little bit. So I'm not going to be hugely surprised if we was to see them drop the titles relatively soon. Maybe not this week, but in the next couple of weeks or next month, I wouldn't be surprised to see them drop the titles. I've got to be honest, but you never know.
So next up, we had Elias versus Baron Corbin in a singles match. I honestly, truthfully, to be told, I did not think this match was going to be as bad. I mean, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be a slow one, and it really wasn't that bad. They worked real hard, and I really like that Baron Corbin actually talked during the one thing that I really like from these empty arena shows that they did over the past 2 days was that you can like some wrestlers trash talk during those dead silence periods, and I really like that because it kind of cut off most of the silence. And I think Elias and Baron Corbin both did a good job, especially Baron Corbin. Elias got the roll up win over Baron Corbin, pulled the tights after Baron Corbin tried to cheat the win, but Elias caught him. And I think it was a good win for Elias. Elias should be wrestling more, really should be. And I really hope this is the beginning of him actually getting in the ring more. But it was a good match.
Yeah, I agree. I was dreading. This was one of the ones I was really not looking forward to. I liked that Elias went straight after him and hit him with the guitar before the match because that makes sense. Because obviously he got thrown off a balcony, so he's going to be pissed off. Anyone would want a bit of revenge. I was a bit disappointed that he wasn't really like selling any injuries coming into the match. Like he was just, he was all fine. I would have liked to have seen him, maybe have some ribs taped up or limping away to the ring to show that that falling from that height had caused him an issue. But it was fine. This was okay. I'm glad that Elias got the win. I was surprised that Elias got the win. I did think Corbin would, they like Corbin. I like Corbin in the ring. I just wish they'd do some better stuff with his character because he can cut a good promo. He's a good heel. He's inventive in the ring. He changes it up in the ring. Corbin has everything. They just keep misstepping with his booking of his character.
Yeah, I agree. Again, I think the match was really solid, for what it was overall,
Yeah.
and I'm kind of glad Elias got the win, and hopefully, like again, I think this is, hopefully it's the beginning of him, stepping into the ring more. I think this is up his wheelhouse, like these, 9-minute, 10-minute matches. He don't need to be going 20 minutes, 25 minutes, like unless it's with, with one of those like elite level guys in the WWE. But I think it's real, like these type of matches are real good for Elias. Next up, sir, we had a match that I was actually surprised was for a fourth on the card. I thought this was going to be later on in the show, but we had Becky Lynch defeating Shayna Baszler for the Raw Women's Championship. I actually thought they were going to, crown Shayna as the next head honcho of the women's division on Raw. They did not see it that way. Before I get to your thoughts side, let me ask you, let's get straight to it. Were you surprised that this match was, first let me say this. Were you surprised that this match was as early as it was on the card?
Once I saw that it was this early, I was surprised by the result, if that makes sense. Like, I kind of assumed it was going to go on later, and Shayna would win. When it came on this early, I thought for definite Shayna was going to win because they didn't want to put like the babyface losing at the end, towards the end of the card or something. But so for this one, out of all the various, there was a few matches where people were a bit puzzled by the booking, and I felt that the way they've booked Shayna, she had to win. It was the right time for Becky to. We discussed it in the preview show that it was the right time for Becky to lose, go away, and then come back for the redemption arc of it, like a Rocky 3. But I also understand them prolonging this feud by having. I think Shayna will bring in the horsewomen now as backup to like mess with Becky and beat her down and all that sort of stuff. And I think they're trying to. I think they want. I think they will give the title to Shayna, but I think they'll wait until they have fans in the arena, even if they've got to drag it out a bit.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the same, and also thing I think is like I was real surprised about the finish of the match, but I think like at the end of it, I kind of thought, I mean, they are taping SmackDown live this week, and I think Raw's going to be live as well, but they don't truly know like when things are going to go back to normal, and I think that they rather just like have somebody that they have Becky Lynch there who's already established, and then you don't have to worry about just not building Shayna back up, and then like whenever you guys do resume, it's like she's just cold. You know what I mean? Like you rather have somebody there who's already established and you already built up, which I understand. But just as far as like the time limit of the match go, they went shorter than Corbin and Elias, and I feel like towards the end of Becky and Shayna's match, that's when they started getting real physical and it started to actually get good. And then they got and then they got cut off right at the end. And the way Becky won, it was hella surprising. Like I kind of like the shock factor part of it because it's hard to draw that in with no fans. But it's like, yeah. But I was surprised.
One thing I did like about the finish was it was the same finish that they did with, I think it was Kairi Sane, where she reversed the Kirifuda choke, Kirifuda clutch into a pin in the same way, and I like that. It's like a callback, but also it shows that when Shayna gets that move, she gets overconfident. So maybe that's like a hole in her game, and I'd like for Becky to address that on Monday's Raw and say that I spotted that hole in your game in your fight with. I watched back your match with Kairi Sane. I saw that there was a weakness there, and I exploited it. And kind of do it that way, and kind of show that Becky was taking her very seriously, and she did her homework, and Shayna maybe was a little bit overconfident.
Yeah, I agree with that sentiment. I would like to see Becky, address that holding the game, and that's a good point about Kyrie saying I can't remember which takeover that was, but I do think that was that's a solid callback to those two. Again, I think we both agree with that. The match was just starting to get heated up before it ended, so hopefully the next time they cross paths, it'll be a longer match. But I do think that this is sort of like the Kickstarter to the Four Horsewomen versus
Yes,
Four Horsewomen match. Like I think this is like the beginning of
long
that.
term.
Yeah, long term booking. They've been teasing that Horsewomen match for about 2 years now. So I think we may finally get it. It'll be cool to see. Next up on the card, we had Sami Zayn. Another surprise finish to me. We had Sami Zayn with Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura. He defeated Daniel Bryan to retain the Intercontinental Championship. I thought they were going to crown DB the new Intercontinental Champion, but Mr. Sami Zayn pulled it off. The first couple of minutes of the match, Sami Zayn was running away from Daniel Bryan. Cesaro and Shinsuke hopped in, distracted Daniel Bryan until Drew Gulak got involved, took him out, and then Sami Zayn and Daniel Bryan went at it. Si, would you like to see Sami Zayn just go back to what he was previously and just wrestle? He could still be the guy that's managing Cesaro and Nakamura and still be the chicken heel, but would you prefer Sammy, like when it comes to the in-ring stuff, that he just do what he's well known for, and that's wrestling?
Yeah, what I love Sami Zayn's heel character until it comes to matches. What I would like to see is in the matches, I would like to see him be really confident in himself, that he's been toe to toe with Nakamura, and he's been toe to toe with Braun Strowman, and kind of go that way. So it's like have him be the character he is now, where he's the heel and he's confident and he's overconfident and he's bragging and he's bigging up the people who he's managing. But when it comes to, like, he's like the boss, so like when he's feuding with someone, they beat Cesaro or they beat Nakamura or whoever, and then when they eventually get their shot at Sami Zayn's Intercontinental title, he's not like playing the chicken shit heel. He's like the complete like wrestling superstar. He's an excellent wrestler. He's not afraid of anyone. He's the ultimate underdog when he faces the big guys, but he'll go toe to toe with anyone. Like, I want to see that Sami Zayn, like when he was NXT champion in the ring, but outside the ring, I don't want them to change his character because I love it.
I understand. One thing that I really do like about this storyline that they got going on is how involved Drew Gulak has been, because he really wasn't doing much of anything on SmackDown since he got drafted
all of
there.
them, I think, Cesaro and Nakamura as well.
I mean, but Nakamura was always in the mix. Like, he was either Intercontinental or US champion. Like, he was always in something. It just wasn't something like super prominent. But as far as like Drew Gulak, I think that they really, they really did a good job with him and getting him involved. And I honestly, like, my hunch is that Daniel Bryan asked specifically for Drew Gulak and got him involved in this. So it's cool, man. It's cool to see.
I was a little bit disappointed with this match. I was anticipating a banger. I thought that these two were going to really kind of try and show what you could do, even though there's no crowd. Like, I thought Daniel Bryan was going to be really like out to prove a point, that he's still one of the best wrestlers in the world. And like I think we said, like, just give him 15 minutes and just go do it, like a really fast pace and just have a complete banger. So I was a little bit disappointed in this match. I still thought it was good, and I thought it told quite an interesting story. I was interested in it the whole way. Just a little underwhelmed.
Did you see the part during the match when Daniel Bryan went for the suicide dive and hit his neck on the barricade?
I didn't know. I missed
Jesus Christ, boy! I was like, Lord have mercy. But he looked like he was okay. But like that part was just, I'm still not over the Daniel Bryan phobia.
No, and it doesn't help that every time he lands on his back or his neck or his near his head, he knows that everyone's scared.
So he sells the hell
So
out
he
of it.
sells it as if he's broken his neck or he's fractured his skull or something. It's
you remember when he took the German suplex from Gulak at Elimination Chamber? Like he landed rough. Like he did an interview after, and he said people were pissed. Like higher ups at WWE, like when he came back, like they were pissed. Like what the hell are you doing? Like, are you serious right now?
So just before you introduce the next match, I want to give you massive props, because you called it that this SmackDown Tag Team Championship match would be a triple threat singles match. You called it, my friend.
Here we are. So I just introduced the folks. You heard it. This next match was the SmackDown Tag Team Championship match, triple threat singles action ladder match. We had John Morrison, the champion, representing himself in the Miz versus Jimmy Uso, obviously repping the Usos, and our brother Kofi, 1 year removed from the day from what I think is the greatest WrestleMania moment of all time. My brother, the second African American WWE champion of all time. Very proud of young Kofi. And like you said, Si, I think it was Dave Meltzer who reported a few weeks ago in the Observer that the Miz showed up to the PC sick. And that also factored into the decision of Roman Reigns deciding to remove himself from the Universal title match, we'll talk about later tonight. But WWE, they officially confirmed on the bump that the Miz was going to be out of the match because he was quote unquote injured from the beatdown on SmackDown. And of course, that was a storyline, of course. But we had John Morrison versus Jimmy Uso versus Kofi. And so I actually think this match was going to work better instead of 6 people being in the ring in that performance center setting, because it was just going to be a cluster. And I think it really worked better because it was just 3 people. What about you?
I agree. I thought it was a very good match. I was a little underwhelmed with the finish because I felt like there was some really creative stuff they could have done with this. I felt like they could have had Kofi or Jimmy win it, and then the Miz come back and say, well, I didn't lose my tag team title belt. So then you have Paige or Vince or Triple H or someone come in and say, right, so then we'll have the Miz and Kofi are the champions, and they will face Big E and John Morrison. Do you know what I mean? And they could have just done anything like that, just sort of something different and creative for a short-term storyline to just make it like just change it up a bit and make it creative and see what these guys could do together against each other rather than as a team, if that makes sense.
But that was gonna be more confusing than the 6-man, bro. I respect it though. I respect it. I ain't judging the creativity. But I think this is the first match when people started actually noticing like the edited parts, like the parts they had to shoot twice. That's why, because the hard camera. Because I think this is probably the first match where people started to notice. There was one. I think it was they went for like this. I think Jimmy Uso was pinning Kofi and Morrison went for this splash, and like you could kind of tell by the hard cut that they had to tape it again to make sure that they got it on cue. So before Kofi, before he got pinned, and I think this is probably the first one that we noticed. But going to the finish, that was another one. I think you could tell that they take that twice. But I know you said you weren't like really a fan of it, but I actually liked the finish. I thought it was different from anything I saw before. I think it was really cool that they had all 3 of them hanging on to the holder that was holding the titles, but John Morrison was the smart one that actually pulled the titles off of the thing. So I think that worked really well, and I actually liked the finish.
Yeah, I just thought that there was an opportunity to do something different and be a bit more creative going forward in terms of where to take the story. But the match was good. And I think this was one of John Morrison's best WWE matches as well.
Yeah, I think Morrison is definitely more suited as a singles competitor, as we've seen over the years with him in Lucha Underground and him in Impact Wrestling. He can definitely hold his own as a singles competitor. I hope WWE just doesn't single him out as this guy who can only do tag team matches, because as we've seen over the years, he can definitely be a top guy. I don't think he'll be WWE champion. I don't see that. I don't see him being Universal champion, but I definitely see him being Intercontinental and, U.S. champion. As we've seen, he's led Lucha Underground as a top champion for like 2 seasons in a row. He's been Impact World champion. Like, he can do it. So I think they need to, at one point, split him from the Miz, give him the ball, let him roll. Next up, we had Kevin Owens versus Seth Rollins. Side, initially, I know me and you both talked about it. We both agreed for night one that this is probably going to be the best match on the card. Did you think this match lived up to your expectations before they went to the no disqualification route?
Yeah, I thought this was real good. The trash talking was real good in this as well.
He called him a
Kevin
fat piece of
Owens,
crap, and Kevin Owens called him a bitch. Yeah. top tier trash talk right there.
Well, no, I don't mean necessarily always what they were saying, but if like just filling in the silence and just kind of like making it feel like a fight. So they're like being aggressive to each other and the things they're saying.
Oh yeah, I liked it, definitely.
And I called it that Kevin Owens would take a crazy bump. Just saying. But I could have done without the DQ and then restart. I could have rather they had announced beforehand
the Raw finish.
I'd rather it was I would rather they just said that it was a no DQ match from the start and just done without that little thing. But I guess it cements like Rollins, as the heel who knew felt like he was losing, so he, tried to take the easy way out, I suppose.
And what do you think about Seth Rollins bringing back the white gear and knowing that Vince McMahon hates the white gear? I loved it. Just knowing that Vince McMahon cannot stand the white gear. Like I knew that was hilarious.
Yeah, anything which annoys Vince McMahon at this point.
I said, what did you what did you think about Kevin Owens taking the dive off the WrestleMania sign? I think that was KO's way of saying I'm gonna get my damn WrestleMania moment one way or another.
And out of all the matches and the different things which happened over the 2 nights, other than the 2 cinematic matches, I think that bump is probably the most likely to be replayed over the years, because they won't want to replay a lot of the stuff with no audience, I think, in years to come, hopefully, when things get back to normal, just because of the visual of it. So him diving off the top of the WrestleMania sign is something that they can show without drawing attention to the fact that there's no fans there. Same with like the Edge and Orton on top of the truck and stuff.
And remember that was Kevin Owens' second highlight moment. Remember when he did the flip off the curb ramp on Raw? Crazy as hell. Yeah, Kevin Owens is the man. He landed it perfectly. Perfectly.
Did,
yeah, Kevin Owens is the man.
It had to hurt. He's so talented. I hope we get another run with him as the either WWE champ or Universal champ at
coming.
Some point in the next
year.
Coming. I'd like to see him do have a run as champ, as a face, just to see how because what I like about his babyface run more than anything is he doesn't suffer from stupid babyface syndrome like the rest of the WWE babyfaces. He doesn't fall for the usual tropes of distractions and this sort of stuff. He's clever, and I like that. I like that he's not offensively dumb, like to the audience, where you're like kind of sat there thinking, well, come on, why didn't you see that, or why didn't you do that? Because he thinks of it, and I appreciate that as a viewer.
As far as Seth Rollins goes, I think next for him, I think the obvious route is to start up the feud with Edge. I think that's like the most, straightforward thing.
I think they might go to Drew, and then do the Edge feud after that. I think. I got a
I,
feeling they
I,
might go
I,
with Drew first.
just to combat that, I don't think that would be good for Rollins at all. I think because you go Drew route, right? Let's say he goes to Drew McIntyre. I don't think you're gonna take the title off Drew this
No,
quickly, and that's gonna be an L for Rollins. And then you're gonna send him to Edge, and then Edge is
it's
probably gonna beat him.
it's
Yeah,
three
three in a
losses.
row. Like I don't think that's gonna be good for Rollins. I think honestly, I really wouldn't mind seeing him in Money in the Bank. Honestly, I think that would be so damn cool. Like the story that you could tell with Rollins and Money in the Bank, and just knowing like the whole ultimate opportunist thing, or not the ultimate opportunist, but the same thing that he did before in the past with Money in the Bank. I think that'd be something cool to throw him in that type of match, and build up on that type of his history in that match.
Yeah,
But
I'd like to see
are
someone
you good?
different win. I just like to see someone different win the Money in the Bank, whether it be like a Andrade or an Alistair Black. I just like to see someone
Oh no,
completely.
no, 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 not win it. I mean, like just be in
Oh
it
right,
and
okay. Oh yeah, okay.
tell the story.
Yeah, no, yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm on board for that. Because when they first brought the Money in the Bank out, like when they first brought the concept in, it was kind of like billed as the one for like the next guy who they wanted to try in the main event, like CM Punk and or like it was like
Edge.
yeah, Edge. It was just like but it was like for like those kind of young stars to have something without going straight into the title match. And I feel like they've got a few guys who could be one really entertaining with the briefcase, two be quite unique with the briefcase, but also it could help elevate them to a new level. Whether it's an Alistair Black, an Andrade, um, there was someone else as well I was thinking of, and I can't think who it was.
Yeah, but
Come back to me in a minute.
next up, something I was very indifferent to. We had Braun Strowman defeating Goldberg to become the Universal Champion. I know you. I'm going to let you get into this one a lot because I know you were not a fan of Goldberg taking the Universal title off of the Fiend, and then him dropping the Universal title just 2 months later, or 1 month later actually. To Braun Strowman. I'm not a fan of this because, sir, Braun Strowman is now 1-6 in Universal title matches. I think that they have missed the boat completely on Strowman as far as being a Universal Champion, and it's a little bit too late for that. It was 2 minutes. Goldberg hit 4 spears, and Braun Strowman came back at him before power slams, and that was the ball game. And Braun Strowman is your new Universal Champion. Side, firstly, before we get into the whole, Goldberg being champion and the Fiend and stuff like that. How long you think Braun Strowman's holding this title before it goes to who they originally wanted to go to? And I think that is Sir Roman Reigns, who I think honestly should be Universal Champion, to be honest.
Um, I think he'd get a run maybe till SummerSlam, and then Roman will probably take it off him, unless they decide to go with Strowman versus the Fiend for SummerSlam, which I don't really want him to. I got to say, I was very disappointed with like this was their opportunity with Goldberg to because it was taped. They could have they could have had him do a proper match, like 10 minutes of like and like edged it, cut it. They could have let him take a break every couple of minutes because he's tired and blown out. Like they could have given this time and made it compelling and interesting, and it just felt lazy. And I kind of done with Goldberg. Like I was done pretty much anyway with him, but like this isn't entertaining. Like 4 spears, 4 power slams. My kids could book that. It's just rubbish. And again, they kind of booked themselves into this big corner because they didn't want to leave the title on Goldberg because he was just a short-term solution to get the title off Bray and on to Reigns without having Reigns beat the Fiend. And then obviously the virus and everything took over and they had to change plans. I agree they missed the boat on Strowman. I'm really kind of done with Goldberg. I don't need to see him. He does nothing for I don't even think this. Could you say that Strowman after this match, even though he's champion and he beat Goldberg, do you think he is any stronger than he was
No,
beforehand?
no. I I
That's
I
what I
I
mean. So
I think peak Braun Strowman was 2017.
yeah, oh, absolutely. But they took the legs out of the Fiend character. They had him lose his first match
The,
to Goldberg of all people for nothing.
just a counterpoint. After last night, and we're gonna get into that. I think the Fiend is back. He's back.
Oh yeah, of
He's
course he
back.
is.
But
But my point being,
I get your point. Like prior to last night, it was like but after last night, that man is back. He's
and
definitely back.
he could also be unbeaten and back. He could be fresh off of beating Goldberg and John Cena and having this crazy match. But you know,
And speaking of crazy matches, sir, I think what was the top two match of WrestleMania weekend and a top 10 Undertaker match of all time. Won't bluff me. We had the Undertaker versus AJ Styles with Lou Gallows and Karl Anderson in a boneyard match. This shit was good. I loved it.
this was good shit, pal.
First, just to recap, we could just go through it piece by piece. Undertaker pulled up. No, so tell me, don't like. Of course, I want you to get your thoughts on, but I kind of want to break it down piece by piece. So just give me like a short, recap.
Yeah,
Um, so when he pulled up, I really liked that they had the old school Undertaker music. It wasn't like the thing we hear today. It was like the ones you hear like when he debuted with back in the '80s, like the regular piano. Like I thought that was so damn cool to hear again. And then
it was. Yeah,
we had the casket pull up. Everybody's like, "Oh yeah, this is about to be cool." About to have the Undertaker pull up. Voila! Here's AJ Styles and his dad jeans talking trash. Did this get it pop out of you, Si?
it did. Yeah, it did. And I love the way like as he popped up, AJ was like so like confident in himself. He thought he was hilarious. He was like, "I'm ready for a fight,"
And he
you
was.
know, bring your ass out, and it was just so funny and so good. Um,
And then we had
so good.
Undertaker pull up on a motorcycle. So was it cool to see the dead man or the American badass back on the motorcycle? Was that cool to see?
Yeah, it was kind of cool. It like we discussed briefly in the preview show. It's a little. I feels like almost a little bit wasted that they finally did it without the fans being there, but it was cool to see. You know, him riding on the motorcycle and obviously leave as well later on.
So Undertaker walked up on AJ Styles, and here goes AJ Styles talking about you old man. Does Michelle know you're out this late? And Undertaker was giving it right back to him. He was like, yeah, she knows I'm out this late, and just give him like little witty comeback responses, small responses, and of course, you see AJ Styles backing up as the Undertaker walks up on him. They finally get the brawl. Undertaker tried to throw AJ's head into the car window. Undertaker tries to like throw his elbow in there, and Undertaker's elbow get caught up, and he says something smart to AJ Styles. They brawl all over the place. So one of the cool spots I really think of this match was the part when AJ tackled Undertaker through the woodshed, and like Undertaker just started making these weird ass noises. Like it was hilarious, bro. Like this whole match was really hilarious. So tell me about some of your favorite spots from the match that like just really stick to you.
The trash talk was just on another
It was
level
great.
throughout this. It was
It was great.
superb. I popped big when um, Gallows and Anderson came out, and then they looked really confident. Whereas when they delivered the contract to him on Raw, you could like they approached him with a lot of reluctance, and then when in this one they came out, they looked so confident in themselves. And then when it's revealed that they've got like a gang of druids, I thought that was a nice touch. I liked that you almost got like three versions of the Undertaker throughout the match without like doing a full costume change. Like you had the American Badass, then you had the kind of the old school Undertaker with his like doing like the magic, for lack of a better terms, and when
The
he
Phenom.
and when he appears behind AJ's back, um, when he's on the tractor, and then you also get the one, oh, what was it? The third one.
You just named 3, I think.
No, yeah, okay. But yeah, it was real cool. Like the whole thing was just so cool, and like, I thought AJ selling when after the Undertaker appeared behind him, like all the way up onto the roof, where he was going like how he couldn't get his words out. I just thought his verbal selling was exceptional, and it just felt like the final fight scene in a movie. It was really well produced. Um, it was just really entertaining, and that's what I gauge these cinematic stuff on. Is you've got to take it for what it is. So this one was like more of a kind of serious. It was like a final boss fight of like an action movie or something.
Right.
Whereas like the ones like the final deletion and the ultimate deletion and all these, they're a bit more campy, and it's kind of like at some points they're so bad they're good, and you're kind of in on the joke, but also there's a lot of meta stuff in it. Whereas this was more straight laced in some aspects of it compared to those, but equally, I just thought it was fantastic.
Did you expect Michelle McCool to make some type of appearance in this?
I didn't. I expected to see Kane though. I was
Oh
quite
yeah.
surprised.
When Undertaker said the Holy Trinity and stuff like that.
Yeah, but someone made a good point on Twitter and said that the Holy Trinity he meant was the three versions of the Undertaker.
Ah,
So
that's
which I
smart.
kind of made sense. I thought when AJ Styles smashed the shovel over the back of the Undertaker, that was a real good spot too.
Definitely. One thing to touch on. Did you? Well, I think we all can sort of come to agree that I think this was probably better than anything that they would have done in a traditional singles match. Honestly.
Yeah, absolutely. This is how you prolong the Undertaker now for another 10 years if you
Yeah.
want.
You
can
and I
have him
talked. You and I talked
do
about all that. Oh yeah,
yeah,
he extended his career.
you could do one of these type matches at Survivor Series and WrestleMania. Just do it twice a year, every year. It doesn't have to
Who would you
be.
like to see do it next? I know a lot of people saw Sting as a possible name.
So you could
Who would you
do
like to see doing the
Sting,
Boneyard match?
Sting, when he retires, like properly, and he's never coming back. I think it's absolutely imperative that he loses one of these matches to either Aleister Black or Bray Wyatt.
Mm.
Your two kind of dark characters, but just one out of the box, which if he ever gets called up, I'd like to see is Punishment Martinez versus The Undertaker in one of
Punish
these matches.
the
I think
club owner versus the dead man. I'm all in. I'm
I
with
think
it.
that could be kind of cool. Someone on Twitter said because The Undertaker showed him respect at the end, they'd like to see an Undertaker and AJ Styles kind of tag run. But I was like, not sure about
Nah.
that.
I
I'd like
don't
to
think
see
that's.
AJ Styles come back. I'd like to see him get some time off for a bit and then come back with the club.
Shit, I don't know if you noticed, but AJ Styles been saying a lot of interviews, buddy, that that contract that he signed in 2019 is his last, and he is not signing anything else after that is done. He has said in multiple interviews that he feels like he is coming up on the end of his career. That is not anything like a secret. He said that himself. So I don't know. I think I give it till summer of 2021. I think that's the last we see of AJ Styles
Do
in
you know what
pro
I'd like
wrestling.
to see him finish on? I'd like to see AJ Styles versus Finn Balor at SummerSlam 2021 in like a ladder match for the NXT title or IC title or whatever,
Mm.
with the club on the outside, and just that be the end. I think that could be an incredible moment where you have the four of them do like a little curtain call at the end, have a big hug, and then AJ Styles retires.
It would be
That
cool.
could be amazing.
That would be very cool, very cool. But moving on to night 2, side to kick off the night, we had Liv Morgan stepping in the ring with Natalya. Liv got the victory. I'm glad they actually put Liv over in this match. You know, I think we all know Natalya is like that locker room leader. She's the one of the vets in the company, men or women. But it was good to see that Liv Morgan got the W. To tell me your overall thoughts about Liv Morgan and what you think they could do with her going forward.
I think she could be a top female star for them. Not maybe necessarily the star, but I think she could be a main event star for them.
You see potential.
She's perfectly capable. Yeah, man. She's good on the mic. She's good in the ring. I wish they'd brought her back as the dark character that everyone thought, even if it wasn't with the Fiend. I quite liked the idea of her coming back as like a bit more dark and aggressive, and just to completely grow her character into something different.
Yeah. Liv Morgan. Okay, and she got the W over Natalya. I think next up for Liv Morgan, possibly we get that singles match against Ruby Riott. I think that's always
Well,
on the
I'd like to
table.
see the triple threat. I'd
Oh
like to
yeah.
see the real triple threat between the three of them. I'm not sure why that didn't happen. I mean,
I
the
don't
other
even
two
know why they broke up.
well, yeah, there is that as well. But the other two haven't been seen since Elimination Chamber. I don't think so. You don't know if they're isolating or you just in today's current climate, you don't know, do you, if people are isolating and that's why they're not there. So we might have to wait for the singles or triple threat matches between them. I wouldn't be against if they're not going to give Liv like a really dark character. I wouldn't be at all against them getting back together at some point, but having Ruby and Sarah be a tag team and give Liv Morgan a little run as the single star instead of Ruby. But
Now did you
ultimately,
see
I'd just like to see her get a push.
the Twitter beef that went down yesterday between Killer Cross and Nia Jax?
I did
Did you
not
happen
know.
to see it? Somebody had tweeted out. I don't know if you saw, but I don't know if you. Well, did you watch Impact like in 2018 at all?
Yes.
So okay, so I'm pretty sure you remember Scarlett Bordeaux's ring gear is like similar to what Liv Morgan's wears now. Like
Yeah.
Scarlett Bordeaux wears similar stuff. So somebody had tweeted out, "Why is Liv Morgan trying to be Scarlett Bordeaux?" Killer Cross commented and said, "Great question." And Nia Jax when they commented and said that he needs to sit the fuck down immediately. And yeah, that was that. Killer Cross did not respond. I know a lot of people said Killer Cross is probably working, as they say, being the storyline. But I don't think he was. I think he was taking up for his wife. I mean, but that you can't
Not
really
exactly like he said anything really bad. There was a
yeah, he
like
just I mean he said
kind
great
of said
question.
like
He said
she's
great
got
question.
similar gear, basically, isn't
Yeah.
it?
But Nia Jax came and hopped on him and it got a lot of reaction. So it's gonna be interesting to see what
I
response
think
from that.
she's back. I think she'll be back on Friday.
Oh yeah, definitely. To challenge Bailey for the SmackDown Women's title. I think that's Bailey's next opponent. Speaking of women's titles, sir, Charlotte Flair defeated Rhea Ripley to become the new NXT Women's Champion. I actually really, really, really like this match. It was hard hitting. I think they did what they could do for the just lack of crowd. Again, another one of those scenarios, just like everybody else did. But I think Charlotte and Rhea beat the hell out of each other. It was physical. I didn't really agree with the finish, but I mean, like it's I'm trying like this is the thing. I know a lot of people don't like necessarily like Charlotte Flair because she gets quote unquote rewarded. But I mean, like sometimes you gotta come to a realization that they just like she's just really that damn good at what she does in the ring. She's really good, and you can kind of rely on her for a multitude of stuff. But you can also rely on other people if you gave them the chance and building them up. Rhea was hot. She beat Charlotte Flair already. She beat Sasha Banks. She beat Shayna Baszler, who was champion for damn near a year, 2 years actually. And Rhea tapped out to Charlotte at WrestleMania, and Charlotte is the NXT Women's Champion. She said during the interview that she will be defending the title on all three brands. So it's gonna be interesting to see what they do. We got 3 of the 4 horsewomen holding the women's titles. And me and you talked about it on the preview show, and you said it even earlier on this show. Looks like we might be heading to Charlotte versus Io. If Io wins the ladder match, I would honestly prefer somebody else win the ladder match now, because I don't want to see them lose to Charlotte so early. But Sab, just your thoughts on the match, your thoughts about Charlotte Flair winning the NXT title, and what do you think is going to be the next move as far as her saying that she wants to defend the title on all 3 brands?
So the match I thought was awesome. It was one of my favorite matches, like actual proper ring matches, not including the cinematic matches. It was one of my favorite matches of the night too. Probably the favorite actually. Other than I really enjoyed the 5 women match. The right. So my point is, they desperately need to get at least a couple of the women to the same level that they've portrayed the horsewomen, and they had the chance to cement 2. One as a really strong heel because of the way she was booked in the Elimination Chamber and since she's debuted, and then you had another one who's like the young, up and coming superstar who could have been, the future, and she still can be. But this was their chance to cement both of them as being on the same level as the horsewomen, because none of the other women have been portrayed on that level, and they didn't do it with either. I felt that was really, really disappointing. If they didn't want to beat Charlotte, I feel like they should have had Rhea go, basically have Rhea win, but just as Charlotte's about to lose, she gets disqualified or something. And I know that you don't want to do like a schmozzy finish at WrestleMania, but it's a slightly different WrestleMania, so you could have got away with it without beating Rhea clean. And look, Charlotte, there's no denying Charlotte Flair is super talented. She's excellent. She's had some great matches. She can talk. She looks good. She's got it all. Um, but equally, I've got no desire to see Charlotte Flair in 2020 run through that awesome NXT women's division and just beat them all. I don't want to see that. And like as much as I really like the thought of an Io Shirai versus Charlotte Flair match, I don't want to see it for the reasons you said. I don't want to see Io Shirai lose to Charlotte. Out of that ladder match, I wouldn't mind seeing Candice.
Chelsea Green.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind. I'd quite like to see Candice versus Charlotte, and
That'd be a good one.
Candice put up like a really amazing fight, but fall short. I'd love to see if they did that. I would love to see Candice get the old gimmick out and have a bit of blood, because I think that would be incredible to see. But it's probably not going to happen. Great match, poor decision with the booking. I thought this was a typical Vince decision, which completely undid. They both, Shayna and Rhea Ripley's, all the hard work they've put into cementing them and Survivor Series and showing them as the NXT 2 top superstars being on the same level as the horsewomen, completely undone. Even though Rhea looked fantastic in this match, she tapped clean. She lost her title after challenging Charlotte, so she just looks like a numpty.
Yep. Yeah, I think I think Rhea gonna be okay. I don't think she's like
she's young and she's
I think Rhea is gonna be fine. As far as what's next for her, that I do not know, but I think she will be fine. Charlotte Flair is gonna be all over Raw, all over SmackDown. All over Raw and all over NXT. So I think that the opportunities for people to get some title shots in, but I like you said, I agree. I don't want to see her just running through the entire NXT women's division. I would like to see Candice LeRae get a shot. That would be nice. I would like to see her versus Chelsea Green. I think that'll be a real good one. But as far as like those elite level people in the NXT Women's Division, I would keep them away from Charlotte Flair for the time being, unless you are going to have them beat Charlotte. And following that match, we had Aleister Black taking on Bobby Fish. I mean, Bobby Lashley with Lana. Aleister Black hit him with the Black Mass to finish the match. Sad, tell me about your thoughts about the end of this match. We saw Lana. I mean, it looked like Bobby Lashley was about to finish off Aleister Black. Lana told him to hit him with the spear, and that ultimately caused Bobby Lashley to match. Do you think this is the breakdown, sir, of Bobby Lashley and Lana?
I do think it's the beginning of the end. I actually just before this match, I kind of said to myself, how cool would it be if Lana turned on Bobby Lashley, kicked him in the nuts, and then reunited with Rusev? And obviously it didn't happen. I just was thinking before the match, I said I would love to see that. I think it's because me and you were talking about um like Rusev Day and how good they could have been as a trio and stuff. And I was like, yeah, I want to see that because I don't like Lana with Bobby Lashley. I think it's stupid because everyone knows that Lana and Rusev are still married. Everyone knows that, Bobby Lashley and Lana are not together. And it's stupid in
Yeah.
2020 is stupid. I thought this match was all right, though. I quite enjoyed
Yeah, it
it.
wasn't bad. It really wasn't bad at all. I didn't really see the point of it happening, but
No, Black. I
it
think it was just a way to get
Alice on the WrestleMania.
Alistair
Yeah,
Black, like a big WrestleMania opponent to beat. I think they wanted to beat someone with a bit of credibility. They wanted to have Alistair Black win on WrestleMania versus someone with credibility, and I think Bobby Lashley does give that. And the Black Mass is the best finisher in wrestling.
it is. Next up, we had Otis defeating Dolph Ziggler with Sonya Deville. Side the last couple of minutes of this match was perfect. I think the crowd would have went absolutely crazy for the last couple of minutes of this match. We had Otis and Dolph Ziggler going at it for a minute. Sonya Deville, of course, had her few interferences in the match, and then all of a sudden, Mandy Rose came down to the ring. She punched Sonya Deville in the face. I think the crowd would have went crazy for that. She went in there first of all, she helped Dolph Ziggler get a low blow in on Otis, and that's when Mandy Rose came down, punched Sonya Deville in the face. Then she came in the ring while the referee was distracted on the outside, and then she low blowed Dolph Ziggler, which let Otis get in the ring. That man Otis picked up Mandy. He got the ring and got the win. Picked up Mandy, got the celebratory kiss, and Otis and Mandy walked all together. So I really the last couple of minutes of this match were A1, sir.
Yeah, it was. It would have been so good with the with the crowd. It just
Oh,
would
they
have
would have
made
lost it. They would have
just
lost it.
so good. Um, what I think is really really important now, and what I'd like to see is, well, number one, I don't necessarily want to see Sonya Deville with Dolph Ziggler. Like I don't want to see her as his valet necessarily. I'd much prefer to see um, Sonya Deville just become this badass heel bitch in her own right, and I'd really like to see her pushed as one of the top heels on SmackDown, underneath like Sasha and Bailey. I hope that they do that because I feel like they've built Mandy up as a babyface. Um, it's a little frustrating that like at the start of the storyline, if you told me they were splitting up, I would have liked to have seen Sonya as the baby face, but the way they've done it really really well. So to be fair to them, maybe they made the right decision there. Um, the match was, it is what it is. But the end was beautifully done.
That I think the crowd would have went crazy for Otis getting a kiss with
Yeah,
Mandy.
and I don't need to see like loads of mixed tag matches between the four of them.
Oh, you
Like
know it's coming. You
we'll
know
see
it's
one.
coming.
I get that, and we'll get a rematch with the women in their corners. I get that too, but I'm quite happy then for them to kind of split off from the foursome. Continue the Sonya and Mandy feud for a bit. But like I say, I would like to see Sonya Deville get a real push as a legitimate fighter now and a legitimate heel.
Yeah, I think one of my theories about it, I think Sonya is so hell bent on getting Mandy away from Otis because she's the one that actually likes Mandy. So I think that's going to be
Yeah, I
something that
think
they
that's
don't
where they'll
do.
go. Yeah.
I think I think that'd be cool because I know Sonya. She actually openly said that they always wanted to do a storyline like that, but and she wasn't happy. Well, she wasn't necessarily happy when Liv and Lana did it. So, it'll be cool to see what they do going forward. But I think this was one of the matches that really, really needed that crowd reaction to make it a special moment. I think the crowd went crazy for Otis. Yeah, it was good for what it was. I like the finish, and I think it's gonna be interesting to see what Mandy and Sonya do going forward.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I will say I've got no confidence in the WWE um, to do a kind of a lesbian or gay storyline
Mm.
in any way. I just have no confidence that they have the ability to tell that story in
No,
any.
I think so Sonya, she said during the interview, I think it was with Up Rocks, that as far as the storyline goes, she actually went to work with the I think a LGBTQ like like an agency, and they like helped them write it out. So I think they already got that mapped out. But at the same time, you got to get that stuff approved by WWE. And if they say it's a no go, then they probably gonna do it their way. But I think it just in this case, I think you should actually listen to the person
Well, of
who
course you should, but
yeah,
it's
exactly.
Vinnie Mac, isn't it?
Yeah, that's
Vinnie
true.
Mac's the guy who makes the decisions. So
Yeah. So next up after that, sir, we had the 36-minute last man standing match between Edge and Randy Orton. Just similar to the Boneyard match. We're gonna break this down like recap by recap. So, firstly, did you get the chance to see the Edge documentary that they put up on the network?
I haven't. No, I'm going to watch that tomorrow.
Man, whew. Si, I'm telling you,
Tia
boy.
Jerker.
It is. I'm not gonna lie. It is. It is. It's probably gonna be one of those that's gonna catch you off guard doing the documentary, just seeing like how like because the documentary initially was supposed to be um a life after wrestling documentary,
Yeah.
but doing that taping, that's when Edge started the process of getting cleared, and so the spear at SummerSlam, that wasn't something that was
Planned. Yeah, I
that
did see someone say that.
yeah, I think I had wrote an article about that the other day before that the doc came out because he did an interview with Inside the Ropes, and he said that and I had put it in one of my news updates that he said that wasn't planned, but yeah, he wasn't supposed to do that. It was supposed to go out there and do a promo segment, and he's thanked Elias for being like aware enough to realize like what he was about to do, because Elias could have easily been like, oh yeah, this is supposed to be a promo segment, and Ed said all he did
Yeah.
they said like that he just looked at him, and Elias, like he looked at Elias and he knew like it was go time. And once Edge got to the back, he ran into Vince McMahon actually, and Vince didn't know. So and you could tell Vince was okay with it because Vince like it gave him a little tap on the back like after, and then just walk right past it. He didn't say anything. Like Vince Edge was talking to Beth, and Vince walked past him and gave him a little tap on the back. They showed that in the documentary, so that was that was real
That's
cool to
kind of
see.
cool.
Yeah, it was cool to see. But Beth was pissed. She was pissed.
Yeah, I
She was
bet
not
she
happy
was.
at all.
Mm-hmm.
She was not happy at all. But well, one of the other things in this documentary that I think is really interesting is and it kind of caught my attention a lot too, as far as like what made WWE decide to clear Edge, because Edge admitted that he received an offer from another major company, which is AEW, and
Yeah.
they contacted him, and he went to go talk to Vince first. He said, before I get into any serious negotiations with y'all, I got to tell Vince, just out of respect, because Vince basically
Mm.
you know
Made
made his
him. Yeah, of
character.
course
Yeah.
he did.
So he went to go talk to him, and then that's when all of a sudden, WWE was like, hey, let's clear him. And that was that. And he got cleared, and now he's back. So did you think that the prospect of Edge being an AEW sort of, I don't want to say forced them, but scared them into just like be like, oh yeah, we gotta get him back here?
Yeah, he's a big enough star that they would have been like, nope, can't have him go there. Like he's in that upper echelon of stars that they would view as a needle mover who could, really change the game. So they would have been straight away like, no, we can't have that. They would have
Uh,
offered him big money, bruh.
oh yeah, they'd definitely offered Edge that big money. I wonder what it would have been like if he was in AEW, but we. I think it was the right move having him, come back to WWE.
Yeah, I
But
think so.
but jumping into the match, for first, I know one of the nitpicks about the match was the commentary. I know you want to get some thoughts about that.
Yeah, man, it was like as if they were, like when they commentate on golf or like snooker, and it's like they're whispering because they don't want to distract the competitors. It was very much like, oh my god, an RKO. Oh my god, he's hit him with a chair. It was real weird. And I'm assuming it's because they recorded it at different times. So I'm assuming that's why they found it difficult to um, like match up the excitement, because I think if they had commentated on it as it was happening, even to record, just even though this pre-recorded, if you record it as it's happening, I think it's a lot easier than recording it over a video, if that makes sense. I think it's a lot more difficult to do that, and get the same reaction and passion in your voice. Um, and I felt like the commentary really took away from this match. This match would have been real good if it had been about 15 minutes shorter, in my opinion.
I said, what did you think about? I know one of the spots that like riled people up a lot was the when he choked him with the
Yeah, that
weight
was
thing.
just I'm amazed that that got through. Like all the people that it needed to get through, from the recording to the editing to the final version. Um, it doesn't bother me as much as some people. Like some people got really riled up about it. To me, I just thought that's probably a bad choice of you know.
I think it was just a lack of awareness.
Yeah, which surprised me because obviously Edge is, and both of them are fully aware of the story, but yeah.
Seeing as how the dark side of the ring thing was like 2 weeks
Oh, I
ago, and
know.
this was
And
taped
do you know
last week,
what?
it's bad
I
timing.
wonder. I wonder if people would have still associated it with, and because it was obvious. But I think the fact that it was literally like 2 weeks ago just made it
Hmm.
worse, because it's all fresh in people's mind, isn't it?
Yep.
Because
Yes.
they've just watched like a 2-hour documentary about it all. Um, yeah, it
Yeah.
wasn't
This
a very good choice.
like it didn't help that they actually repeatedly, well, not repeatedly, but they made it clear that that's how Benoit killed himself, like by the weight.
Yeah,
I don't think it was just, I think it was just lack of awareness. It didn't make me like super riled up, but because there's no way to ever know truly if that's the intention or that was.
it was just a poor choice, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. But yeah, I do think the match did go a little long. I mean, I didn't think it was bad at all. I know some people like were calling it like a bad match. I don't think it was a bad match at
Meltzer
all.
gave it 1 star and called it the worst, one of the worst matches in WrestleMania history,
Well, that's
which I
Dave
thought,
Meltzer.
yeah,
That's his opinion. I don't really care for his opinion. I mean,
no,
that's just. I mean, like not saying it like that, discredit him or anything, but like that's somebody's opinion. I don't know why people get so seriously
yeah,
wrapped up in
me
other people's
neither.
opinion when you can have
It's
your own.
just someone's view, isn't it? It's subjective. Like
Exactly.
what you might think is the worst thing ever, I might think is the best thing ever.
Exactly. Like it was the same thing. Like what people were saying. Kenny Omega and Okada at
Yeah,
Dominion was the best match at in 2018, and I think it was Gargano and Almas at Takeover Philadelphia. Like it's subjective,
yeah,
you know.
of course it is.
So yeah, but the finish of the match, you had Edge cap it all off with the Concerto. I think that was a nice one.
Perfect end.
Yeah,
It was,
perfect one.
it was a good brawl. It wasn't bad in my opinion. I thought the ending was perfect. I thought a lot of it was very, very good. But I feel like they could have cut out about 12, 13 minutes of it, and it would have been I think if they'd cut out about 10 minutes, 12 minutes, I feel like it would have been really good. But I feel like the length did take away from it a bit. And I did see a weird take where someone said, "Oh, Edge showed that he can go 37 minutes, with his injury and his age, and he can still go 37 minutes." And I was like, "Well, not really, because it was recorded. He could have taken a break every 5 minutes for all we know." So that was a weird take for me, but I didn't think it was terrible. But it wasn't my favorite thing on the show by any means.
Speaking about, I forgot to mention this before we got to night 2. Did you happen to see the preview of the Undertaker documentary that they're doing?
I have not. No.
Oof.
I've heard it's good though.
Yeah, it's a good one. Undertaker rocking his Blue Lives Matter shirt, of course. Lord have mercy.
What's that about them?
You know the one with the police basically, the Blue Lives Matter shirt is like a opposite of the Black Lives Matter movement.
Right.
They said, yeah, exactly.
You can't be wearing that.
Hey, but
lost a bit of respect for him for that.
but other than that, with all that stuff that he represented, the documentary was the preview. It's gonna be like the Michael Jordan one that ESPN doing. It's gonna be released in like portions. Like it's not gonna be one long thing. It's gonna be like 50 minutes each episode.
All right, okay.
So they first started recording before his Mania match against Roman Reigns in 2017, and it basically just followed him throughout that time period. And he, admitted that he can't do the whole schedule. He don't think he can go as like he used to. He doubts himself a lot, all that stuff. Like he like it was one real funny part of the documentary when they were at the hotel before Mania, and Roman Reigns walked up to Undertaker next to him. And Undertaker was like, "God damn, you can't kayfabe for 5 minutes." And Roman was like, "I don't give a damn about your kayfabe." And like it was like funny little interaction with them. And Undertaker was just, he gets into a lot, man, about how the younger generation and how it was a lot of. I think you should check out the preview.
I will. I'm gonna watch that, and I'm gonna watch the Edge one tomorrow.
For sure. Please do. But next up, we had the Raw Tag Team Championships. We had the Street Profits defeating Street Profits, Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford retaining by defeating Angel Garza and Austin Theory. 6-minute match. I don't really think it was much to dissect about the match, but I think the story was the end portion. Sir, we had Bianca Belair making her. Well, I can't call her Raw. She had a WrestleMania debut. Shout out to Bianca Belair. Made her WrestleMania debut. She laid out Zelina Vega. Sir, do you think this is the trade-off that we got? We got Charlotte Flair going to NXT, Bianca Belair on Monday Night Raw. What do you think about Bianca Belair? I think it was a great introduction, her being paired. Obviously everybody knows she's married to Montez Ford. I think it was a nice, way to introduce her and then, eventually break her off into her own thing.
Yeah, I like him. I'd like them all together. I think it'll be good for all parties concerned, as long as they don't turn her into like the equivalent of Zelina Vega all the time, because she's.
Oh, please, Lord, no.
Because like Zelina Vega's a manager, because she's not, she's okay in the ring, but she's not like, top tier. Whereas Bianca Belair is capable of being the woman. The female star for the whole company. So yeah, she needs to be given, give her a little bit of time just to get her personality over with the Street Profits, and build her up with some good matches in that time as well, and some wins, and then get that rocket pack, put it on her.
I said, how just a quick prediction. How long do you think it'll be before we see Bianca Belair with the Raw Women's title? Do you think she'd be the one to take it off Becky Lynch? I think that'd be interesting. As a heel, I think that'd be cool.
Yeah, I really like Bianca Belair as like this tweener. Like, she's never really a face and she's never really a heel. She's just kind of her, and I really like that about her. I feel that it's a weird one, because like Shayna's like 40, and I feel like
way to call her out, Sal.
No, but I mean like she's like 40 odd, like, so I mean like with Shayna, you can't really build the next 10 years around her. So in some ways, I feel like with Shayna, it's like now or never. Like
Right.
you either put the title on her, make her a big heel, get a good 3 year run out of her, or you don't. Whereas
Yeah,
Bianca
Bianca Belair,
Belair,
she
you
turns.
you
Sure,
could build.
her birthday is in like 3 days, so and she's only 30, so you
Yeah, and
know.
you could if she's the one to beat Becky after Becky's had the title for over a year, that's a massive introduction to the Raw
Hmm.
roster,
Yep.
which I think is good.
And then speaking of championship, sir, we had the Fatal 5-Way elimination match for the SmackDown Women's title. Bailey retained by defeating Lacey Evans. Finally, she defeated Lacey Evans. I mean, the final person she defeated was Lacey Evans. Also involved in that match was Naomi, Sasha Banks, and Tamina. So I think this was out of all the traditional matches on the card. I think this was the best one. I
Yep,
really like the dynamic in this
my
match.
favorite.
Everybody got their stuff in. They did a real good job of building up Tamina as the monster, and everybody had to pile on the beater. I think Tamina had a real great showing. They continued to build with Sasha Banks and Bailey. Naomi got her stuff in. Bailey finally got her win over Lacey Evans. I think this was perfect. Honestly, I love the match.
Yeah, it was excellent. It was a real good match. I enjoyed it massively. And what I really liked was the way they did the Sasha and Bailey stuff, where
Loved
Bailey
it.
hits her by accident. Bailey hits her by accident. First of all, Sasha gets pissed. Then Bailey saves her by pushing her out of the way, but Sasha still gets knocked out and pinned. And then Bailey is fully conscious, watches as Sasha gets eliminated, and then Sasha comes back and saves Bailey and like basically, helps her beat uh, Lacey to
Lacey
win.
Evans, so
And I
she can
just
be the
thought it
one to
was,
take the title off her.
yeah, I thought it was exceptional storytelling. Not for the, that's not the last time we'll say that.
Let's say, did you think they did a real good job of like letting Tamina get her stuff in? Because like some people would think that like she'd be like the outcast in the match, but they did like a real good job of like showcasing her.
Yeah, I think the last 3 weeks they've done a very good job since they announced her as being in the match officially. I think they've done a real good job of building her up as a threat and as a monster. She's something different. I'm not a huge fan of her character, but I think she's been exceptionally booked the last couple of weeks.
I agree. I agree. But yeah, Bailey is the SmackDown Women's Champion. Side, do you think that we either get Bailey do you think they do a cash in on Bailey, or do you think we're all heading to the eventual Sasha Bailey match
I think Sasha's going to win Money in the Bank.
and then cash in on Bailey?
Yeah, I think she'll like make out to Bailey that she's going to cash in on Becky,
Hell yeah.
and then at some point
Or
she'll,
Charlotte, and then do
yeah,
the give it a run
and then
around.
and then at some point she'll like turn on her when she's not expecting it and beat her for the title.
You want to know something real quick that I think would be real cool, since everybody knows Sasha Banks is real passionate about wrestling, like outside of the ring and stuff like that, like outside of the TV screen, off the TV screen. I think it'll be real cool if Sasha Banks just like straight up like, I'm a better wrestler than you. I know I can beat you, so I'm gonna cash this in, and this is going to happen, and I'm going to beat you at that show. And then she actually does it. I think that'd be cool
Yeah,
as
like
hell.
names it in advance, like
Right.
Rob Van Dam did. Yeah, that'd be
And
quite cool.
just like I know I'm gonna beat you here, and then she actually does it. I think that'll solidify Sasha Banks.
Yeah,
Um, we're gonna talk about the Firefly Funhouse match last, but the main event, the book main event for the show was Drew McIntyre defeating Brock Lesnar for the WWE Championship. 4 minutes. It was your Brock Lesnar match that we see all the time. Brock Lesnar gets heat on the guy, suplex, F5s, and then Drew McIntyre made his comeback. I didn't really care for the match too much, but I'm real happy for Drew McIntyre. Worked his ass off. Good, good on him. Got fired from WWE, came back, worked his ass off in the independent scene, world champion, top guy in Impact. He did it all, man. So, good on Drew McIntyre. First guy from the UK to win the WWE title. So, good, real good on Drew McIntyre. I'm happy for him. And I'm excited to see what they do going here. Hopefully they do not just drop the ball with this dude. What do you think about Drew McIntyre's title win? And I know you were also, just not big on the traditional Lesnar match that they always do in this situation.
yeah. I mean, the match is basically the same as the Goldberg match. So the thing which frustrates me about Brock Lesnar is Brock Lesnar, unlike Goldberg, is so capable of more. Brock Lesnar could have him and Drew McIntyre could have had an exceptional match, a real banger, like two big sons of bitches beating the crap. They could have had a real good match, which would have put over Drew even more in many ways. Um, and I just think sometimes, Brock Lesnar will do whatever he's told. He just wants to get paid. If they tell him to work a 15-minute match, he'll work a 15-minute match. If they tell him to work Drew McIntyre, that's who he works. He does what they ask him to do. They pay him, and that's the arrangement.
Highest paid guy in the company, sir.
Yeah. Um, but they've become lazy in their when they book him, and it's frustrating. I'm thrilled for Drew McIntyre. He
Mhm.
deserves it massively. He's hell of a worker, hell of a guy.
Top lad.
Top lad, my fellow Celt. Very pleased for him. Obviously, he's the first British WWE champion as well. Um, Unfortunately, I believe that his first opponent will probably be Jinder Mahal. But there you go.
That 3MB triple threat. Let's
No,
get
I
it.
think if you look back, particularly in recent history, after WrestleMania, they often give the champion a opponent, who's he's gonna beat, but it's just almost like a soft feud.
Like a placeholder.
Yeah, it's like so it's naughty. Like Daniel Bryan had Kane.
Seth Rollins had Baron
Um,
Corbin.
yeah, Baron Corbin, Big Show as being one, I think, as well. It's a bit frustrating. Dare I say, lazy again.
Mhm.
But
That's a good point. That's a good point. Like why we
but
said
then
Seth
in another way, the promos and the story behind it could be interesting. But then I also think, do we want to draw attention to the fact that Drew was in this stable of jobbers all those years ago?
I mean, Drew mentions it every damn interview, so
Yeah, I suppose it is.
yeah,
And
but
Heath Slater is super entertaining, so you know he could add to it as well.
yeah, for sure, for sure. But
And Jinder Mahal's and due to come back anytime, and they love him. So
I can't wait to me and you do the next podcast and we when gender makes Drew McIntyre do the job, don't hinder the gender. Let's get it.
Jinder Mahal, the man who forgot his own finishing move.
But the what some would say is the real main event of night two of WrestleMania. We had the
It's the main
Firefly
event of the whole
Funhouse. We
block.
had Bray Wyatt versus John Cena. Similar to how the other matches, we're gonna break this down bit by bit. So just give me your short recaps as we
Oh,
go
bro,
along.
I could do a 2 hour podcast just on this match.
So so first of all, to kick things off, we had the great video package. Of course, we saw that on the kickoff show. WWE always does great with these video packages, but we got John Cena coming out doing his regular entrance, and then next thing you know, John Cena goes up to the main screen and says, "Welcome to Wrestlemania," and then the whole thing just goes black, and then we see clips of Mean Gene, see clips of Vince McMahon repeatedly saying, "Welcome to WrestleMania," and then John Cena ultimately ends up inside the Firefly Funhouse. He goes through the back door, and that's when this whole thing just goes completely something that I did not think was going to happen. It was crazy as hell. One of the things was that John Cena and Bray Wyatt were in a gym and they were working out, and he was calling him Mr. Lamb something. It was crazy. It was funny as hell. Sasa, what did you think about how they got to the Firefly Funhouse match? Like the whole introducing this welcome to WrestleMania, and then him and Bray Wyatt working out in the gym, and then we'll get to the other stuff, of course, after that.
I liked that they had seen when they had Cena in the ring, and Bray came up, and the fun house music comes, and I liked that they did like a little kind of explainer where and kind of said like in the fun house is different and it's where the monsters and the demons live and all this sort of thing to kind of separate it from the like the real world, if you like. um I just thought it was the storytelling and the rewards for long-term viewers in this, like you're talking 6 years of storytelling, in this whole thing it's just unbelievable.
So yeah, before John Cena went to the workout session with Bray Wyatt when he was in that dark room, he was confronted by none other than puppet Vince McMahon. And Vince McMahon asked John Cena, "Sir, do you have ruthless aggression?" And continuously asked John Cena that. And basically just doing a parody of Vince McMahon. I think that Vince McMahon puppet is hilarious. That is great.
It's so funny.
That is hilarious. And
I,
Cena, Cena just looking at the puppet Vince McMahon like he's crazy. Vince, continuously asking him, "Do he got ruthless aggression and stuff like that?" He said, "Do you have enough ruthless aggression to make the necessary sacrifices of mind, body, and soul to be a success in this company? Show me, or you're fired." And I think that was funny as hell. And then, sir, right after that, we transition into 2002. John Cena making his debut with the signature boots to
the fist.
whatever he's with the SmackDown fist in the background. I don't know why they obviously got that thing in storage. I don't know why they
Yeah,
never
man.
broke that out. But tell me, what was your initial thoughts when you saw John Cena come out with the his old gear? Because I laughed like, yeah, I thought it was hilarious.
I didn't laugh at this point because I was like, what the hell? I saw the SmackDown fist and I saw the ruthless aggression tights, and I was just like, this is some weird trippy shit. And then like I will talk about it, but like as it progressed, I was just like, this is the greatest thing I've ever watched. It was just so good.
So then Cena came into the ring. Him and Bray Wyatt talk back and forth, and all he can say is ruthless aggression. And he tries to swing on Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt ducks, doesn't take too kindly to that. Cena says it again. That's because that's all he can say is ruthless aggression. And then Bray Wyatt says, "You can look, but you can't touch." We all know what that is from. That is from, who is that from, Si? Whose theme song is
That's
that?
from Nikki Bella's theme song,
And who is
and
she?
she is the person he proposed to at WrestleMania. John Cena did. She
Yep.
said yes, and then they split up.
And now she's with a beautiful family.
Preggers, isn't she?
Yep. Yep. And yeah, John
And I
Cena
think that is fair play to John Cena, not just
for allowing
to
that. Yeah.
yeah,
Big up.
man, and some of the other stuff which they touched upon. Both guys deserve tremendous credit for the way they were open to it, and I just thought it was exciting. It's
Yeah,
just
I
so
commend you
entertaining.
for bringing that up. Big ups to Cena for even agreeing with that, because I'm pretty sure that's a touchy subject. You know what I'm saying?
Oh
Like,
God, yeah.
you know what I'm saying? I know that's a touchy subject. But yeah, one thing that I really like, and I know I really want to get your thoughts on this, was Bray. Because I know we've heard Cena speak about this in documentaries before, where he said he doubted himself a lot, and Bray asked him, he was like, "You sure this is what you want to do with your life? Like, you sure this is what you really want to do?" And you get the flashbacks of Cena, holding the belts when he was a kid, and saying he wanted to be a professional wrestler, and Bray was like, I don't think you really cut out for this. Like, maybe you should go now. Like, what did you think about Bray touching in on those initial doubts about John Cena that Cena really had, like, early in his career when he was really about to get fired from WWE?
Well, I think this is the point where it's clear that the whole thing is based around like the psychological. Uh, it's like a psychological, not torture, but like a psychological hell for John Cena as Bray Wyatt's um, playing with his fears and his anxieties throughout his career, the things that have really bothered him and what he's worried about, and is there's a lot to cover in it, um, and I just think that I can't explain what I mean. I just mean like the the way that it's portrayed at this point, and then it makes it clear for the segment or the match or whatever you want to call it, is that John Cena's this is all about John Cena's psychological torture, and
Mm-hmm.
and Bray Wyatt really breaking John Cena, and also John Cena finally letting the Fiend and Bray Wyatt in, which he didn't do all those years ago back in WrestleMania 30, wasn't it?
Can we get a chef's kiss for this side? Can we get a chef's kiss?
It was beautiful.
But next up, we had Bray Wyatt and John Cena in the gym. And one thing that I really think a lot of people, didn't catch on this one was, this idea that you got to be like specifically back when John Cena was first starting out, you had to be this big jacked up dude with all the muscles to get ahead. And that's when you see John Cena like they sped it up obviously, but you see John Cena like working out hard as hell, like trying to be this big guy with no personality. And
Yeah.
Bray Wyatt says that's what being a stud is all about, having muscles, no matter what little talent, no matter what talent you possess. You know what I'm saying? And that's what John
Mm.
Cena was. He didn't have a character, and all he was just this big dude. And I
Yeah.
think that was like, and first of all, none of this is getting clear without Vince McMahon. Let's get that straight. Like,
Oh yeah.
because that's like a direct shot at Vince McMahon, obviously. Uh, what did you think of them actually like touching on that, like, and Bray Wyatt saying that all you had to do was be this big dude, and touching on John Cena saying like that's all Cena was, because that's really what he was for most of the beginning part of his career, was just a body dude.
Yeah, he says basically it's implied that because he was gay, he was going to be fired, but because of his body and because of his size, he was given another chance. Um, and it's that old school thinking that has only recently, in recent years, gone away in WWE. That no matter how talented or not talented you are, if you had the size and the muscles and the look, that look which Vinnie Mac loves, then that was enough. Whereas Bray Wyatt had to go away and he had to use his talent and he had to create chances, opportunities for himself, and he had to reinvent himself, etc. John Cena relied on his size, and you have the Saturday night's main event, and the exercising, and it's just
And then I,
beautiful.
and then after that, Sarah, we had the arrival of the doctor of thugonomics, Mr. John Cena. He came in the ring, did his whole little thing with Bray Wyatt, said, put these nuts on your face, and pulled out a pack of peanuts and threw it at Bray Wyatt. And he tried to like, he hit Bray Wyatt with a bar. Like, I think he made like a real jab at Bray Wyatt, and then Bray Wyatt said something back to him, and like he like really caught him with a good one. And then Cena's like stopped and looked at himself, and then all he could do was rap. Like, that's all he could
Yeah,
do. Like, he couldn't respond. Like, you could tell the comment got to him, but like his initial thing as being this Doctor Thugonomics character was, I gotta respond to the rap. Like, I gotta give him a rhyme that rhymes. You know what I'm saying? I really like that they added in like that little touch.
yeah, man. It was just awesome. Um, and it was like obviously the Doctor of Thugonomics. His character got over because of the edgy raps and stuff like that. They made him. The fans loved it. But he also, it is promos. He often did damage the portrayal of his opponents or the
By
people
hurting
he
them
was in the ring.
personally. Yeah, making
Yeah, man.
personal comments. And,
And
and and and just to touch on that, Bray Wyatt, he went at John Cena professionally. John Cena went at him personally. And like you
yeah,
just said, that's a lot of what Cena did. Even though it was a scripted thing, that stuff still, these people, bro. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like,
man.
he called him like called him a slut for opportunity, blowing every chance,
Yeah, I love
like
when he said, and then Bray Wyatt says opportunity, and he gets really serious and offended by it that John Cena would have the audacity to sort of compare the
opportunities,
chances
right?
they've had and the opportunities they've had. It was so good, so good.
Yeah, it definitely was. I really like that. And he compared them to Husky Harris. Comparing them to the character of old. Basically making jokes about Bray Wyatt, calling him a loser. Stuff like that. And Bray Wyatt
Yeah,
points out, he said that he had to work opportunities. He had to work for opportunities, and having them taken away, stuff like that, et cetera, et cetera. And I think he said something along the lines of like, he's like, "You're not a hero, John. You're a bully. You're a horrible person. You take the weaknesses of others and you turn them into jokes. You do anything for fame, John. Congratulations. You're the man now, John. Poor lonely Cena." And we see the clips of John Cena, winning multiple championships, and all that good stuff. I think this was like very, very well done. The doctor of Thugonomics character. Would tell me just what did you? I know you already explained it previously, but just your thoughts about this particular segment overall. Just a quick wrap up before we get
um,
into the next thing.
so the other thing I thought was like the kind of whole point of this segment, but all of it is everything which John Cena's been saying in the build up to WrestleMania about uh, Bray Wyatt being overhyped and selfish and the various other ways he described him. As this is going on, you can see that being flipped around on him. So he's realizing, or it's Bray Wyatt's telling him that he's the overhyped one. He's the one who hasn't got as much talent as he thinks, and he's the one who's selfish and it's just like I say, it's so beautifully done, but
Mm.
it's not like in your face.
It's
It's
not
not hitting
corny.
you. It's it's like subtle that
That
you've got to
you got to watch twice.
you got to watch it twice. You've got to be intelligent enough to put it all together.
Mm. Yeah,
And
I
that's
agree.
what I like about that. I like that it's trusting that the audience is clever enough to work out what you know what this means and what this is and what this Easter egg is and what is this referring to and oh that's from this many years ago and I
And
just
and
I
without
enjoy that.
and without over explaining it, that's something I really liked. And then we transitioned over, sir, to WrestleMania 30. We had Bray Wyatt sitting in his chair with the old Hawaiian jacket. I mean, the old Hawaiian shirt, sitting down in the chair. And one of the things, you know, of course, they flash back to the WrestleMania match that they had in WrestleMania 30. Cena was wearing the exact same gear that he was wearing at WrestleMania 30. Bray Wyatt was wearing something similar to what he was wearing at that event. One thing that I really liked about Bray Wyatt, a quote from this segment, and it kind of hit me like just a personal note, because sometimes I could feel like this. Sometimes he said, "I was the color red in a world full of black and white," saying that he was completely different, and Cena took everything away from him in that moment. And in hindsight, being 2020, he kind of did. But I know me and you talked about this on the previous podcast.
Yeah,
Let,
yeah,
let, 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 let's say Bray Wyatt won, and he did beat Cena, and he was the one to go win the WWE title like Cena did. And then Bray Wyatt would have got jobbed out to Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam 2014. I don't think Bray Wyatt would be the same person he is today if that would have happened to him.
he isn't. But then also Bray Wyatt was when Bray Wyatt came into the main roster, he was completely different to everyone else on the roster. He was like something we hadn't seen in a very long time. His promos were different. His look was different. Um, and he had coming into WrestleMania, he had so much momentum with the crowd. They were singing, "You got the whole world in your hands." Everyone was behind him, and then John Cena took it all away in one night.
Yep. And then one point during this match, Cena Bray Wyatt kind of, you know, better words, like rewrote the history. He had set Cena up for the Sister Abigail. He said, "Nope, that's not going to do it." And then they screen cut out. He came back on. Bray Wyatt had a chair in his hand. Flashback to WrestleMania 30. Slid the chair right over to John Cena. Told him to do it,
Begs him to
and
do it.
begs him to do it. And I like really, really like this a lot. And then all of a sudden, we hear the NWO flash, and we get the thing that everybody, you know, that most people ask for. And then the one thing that Cena sort of never did in his career was turn heel. And that's
Yeah,
what that's what this was. It was the, you know, of course they had Bray Wyatt in the ring acting like he was Eric Bischoff, and then introducing Hulk Hogan, aka John Cena, and Cena came out with the belt and did the whole, you know, the air guitar with with the
yeah.
big gold belt and stuff
Too
like that.
sweet.
And that was just another thing. Like, you know,
So,
he turned heel. That's basically what it was. An imaginary heel turn that Bray Wyatt
so
did.
here's a question for you then. All the other people who have faced the Fiend and Bray Wyatt since he became the Fiend have ended up changing their characters. If this isn't John Cena's retirement, because I saw someone make a good case for the fact that we'll never see John Cena wrestle another match again. I don't think that'll happen, but it was interesting. Um, will we see if not necessarily an NW like an NWO by name, could we see a heel John Cena lead a super stable of stars on when he comes back? And could this have been like
The heel turn.
like the Easter egg or the hint towards it.
No,
So
see
when he comes back, say like Roman Reigns is about to beat whoever for the title, and that the other person he's fighting has got someone helping him out to win, and then Cena's music hits, and everyone thinks he's coming to save Roman, and he nails Roman with a chair. Roman loses, and that's the beginning of.
Now, see what I think is really about to happen as far as if Cena does come back is he just gonna be that guy that's gonna be, taking out all the young guys like that thinks they're entitled to something in WWE. Like every young guy who really thinks that they're
Like the
deserving.
opposite to a legend killer.
Exactly. That he's gonna be taking out all the young. I think that's gonna be perfect. So we get to the next thing. Cena's in the ring, and of course we have Vince sitting at the table next to Macho Man Randy Savage, who was Mercy the Buzzard, and Vince said, "This is such good shit." That was hilarious.
Was
I love
greatest moment. Because that is just so self-aware, and that's what I loved about this whole thing. Is it's not only clever and great storytelling, and make no mistake, it is a bit campy and funny and entertaining, but the storytelling is so good, and this was just so self-aware that Vince would like allow that in, which is basically a meme of him
that he always says, which is true.
Yeah.
And then, as we see that, we see Bray Wyatt beating the crap out of, John Cena beating the crap out of Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt eventually transforms into the Husky Harris pig doll. And all you see is John Cena punching the doll. And then right after that, we see like a cutaway to some of Cena's greatest failures. It's a list right here that they have on uprocks.com. A fantastic write-up recap of this they have. So in the quick cutaway, you see the If Cena Wins, We Ride poster from ECW. We got Edge cashing in on John Cena. We have Cena losing to Shawn Michaels on Raw. We got him losing the WWE title to Batista, losing to The Miz. CM Punk's goodbye kiss at Money in the Bank. Cena upset after losing to The Rock, losing to Randy Orton, getting squashed by Brock Lesnar, losing to AJ Styles at SummerSlam, losing to Roman Reigns, and losing to Undertaker. So you had all that in a flash of like 20 seconds, like all Cena's greatest losses and all that stuff. And then soon as that's over, we have John Cena in the ring with himself, regular John Cena with his, signature wristbands on, and he sees Husky the pig, sitting there. He beat the crap out of him, and like that was, that's basically establishing that scene. Like it was that coming to the mind moment that Cena's the bad guy.
And he played it really well because he looks broken. He looks when he's in the ring, and it comes back, and he's in the ring, and he looks like a guy who's lost everything, like mentally. He's just staring at the ground, and he just looks like he's coming to this realization, like you say, that he's the bad guy, not Bray Wyatt, and not the Fiend. And I just loved the touch. And then,
so right after that, we had the Fiend in the ring. He chokes John Cena out, pins him 1, 2, 3, and then John Cena disappears. And then the lights cut off. They cut back on.
Don't forget though that when the Fiend pins him in the mandible claw, Funhouse Bray makes the count.
Yeah,
I thought that was a nice touch.
Yeah, that was a nice touch. And then right after that's over, they cut out Titus O'Neil. I love this part. He doesn't say a word. He doesn't know what to say. And that is the end of the Firefly Funhouse match.
Just so good.
That was excellent.
It was exceptional, mate. And everyone who listens to this show and watches this show, I'm a Bray Wyatt mark. I love everything on the whole that he does. But for me, it's the intricacies of it all, the storytelling, the callbacks, the self-awareness, the creativity, John Cena's acting, Bray Wyatt's creativity, everything about it is special. And this is like, even though I saw some people saying, it's not a match, so it shouldn't count, or this, that, and the other, and I was like, this was so creative, man. And like when you think of the situation they're in, whereby you've got this global pandemic virus, so they needed to come up with something different. Their backs were against the wall a bit. You can't tell me that a one-on-one match between Cena and Bray Wyatt would have been better than this. Would have told these stories as well as they did with this
Mm-mm.
segment.
Mm-mm. This was exactly what it needed to be, and the Fiend is back, and that's all I got to say. He is back.
Oh yeah,
He has recovered from his loss against Goldberg,
yep.
and all is
And
well in the
plus,
world.
you get to have a picture of Bray Wyatt and John Cena, two sweeting each other whilst wearing NWO um, gear, which is a fantastic meme to have. And also, you get a 2 or 3 second clip of a puppet of Vince McMahon saying, "That's such good shit, pal."
I gotta go screen record that meme. Actually,
Boy,
I'm done.
what more do you need? I'm going to change my Twitter picture to Bray Wyatt and John Cena two sweeting each other
I'm
because I just got to do it.
I am like for sure about to go save that meme because that is hilarious. But yeah, everybody,
Yes,
that is the 2 nights WrestleMania event. We have Raw tonight. Friday Night SmackDown will be live on Friday. NXT, AEW this week. It's gonna be good.
it's going to be interesting to see what they do because, like, normally the Raw after Mania, I'm normally so hyped for. It's one of my favorite days, like wrestling days of the whole year. But I just don't see it being the same. I don't think. I just don't. I don't see them. Do you see them bringing people up? I
Like
don't.
Bianca
I
Belair.
Yeah, but do you, like they normally bring up like a couple? Do you see them doing that, or I
Nah,
just don't? I
not
don't think
because
so.
NXT is part of the main roster now, so it's like you know.
I think in not this year, but I think in years going forward, they should actually do the draft on the week after Raw, after WrestleMania,
Mm.
as like a reset, like a to reset the year, like the season, if you like.
I wouldn't be surprised if they announced a shakeup tonight. So
Yeah, it's gonna be good. I'm looking forward to it. Overall, WrestleMania WrestleMania was way, and I mean way, way better than I thought it was going to be. And for that, I'm thankful. It took my mind off everything. Um, so like that's to me that's cool. Um, if you had to give it a mark out of 10, what would you give it?
8.5.
What was your favorite match out of the 2 nights?
Besides the gimmick matches,
No, including all of the matches.
oh the 5-5 Funhouse match.
My next question was going to be: did you prefer the Firefly Funhouse or the Boneyard match?
The 5-5 Funhouse match for sure, but
It's just so superb. What was your favorite part of the Firefly Funhouse match?
the Vince McMahon.
Such good shit, pal.
That is hilarious, and just knowing the fact that he approved that's what makes it even more funny. It would have been more funny if he would have voiced it over himself. That would have been hilarious. But you get what you can get.
Um, okay, then to finish us off, what would you do with the Fiend next?
Mm, who is really left? I'll take him off TV for a while, like 2 months.
After that,
I
after
mean,
that
I mean,
success.
I mean, what else do you put him on TV just to put him on TV? Like, I think you should come up with something valuable or somebody else for him to
So
change. Like, who else is there for him to change on SmackDown?
I was going to say, who else has he feuded? Who has he feuded before he was the Fiend? Who's Bray Wyatt feuded with?
Well, it can't be Moxley. So,
No, it cannot. So who could it be? I'm trying to think who he's feuded with. Who he?
mm,
I can't think of anyone.
he already changed Seth Rollins. Already changed Finn
Finn
Balor.
Balor.
I do not really know. Like I'm telling you, just keep him on TV for a while. I'm telling you, or if you're not gonna do that, you start the recruitment.
Yeah, I'd be down for like a stable of like him collecting like a super, like not super stable, but you collecting maybe like underused stars, like both.
Maybe he brings in Bro Dallas and Curtis Axel, because remember him and Matt Hardy used to feud with the B team. So
Yeah.
maybe
So
we
if
could
you had the Fiend create like a stable of underused characters and made them have like a dark edge and embrace their darkness, and so they became like something better and started winning matches. It would be interesting if the Fiend had a stable and then John Cena turned heel and had his own super stable come Survivor Series. But
bro, I'm looking at Bray Wyatt's cage match, bro. He wrestled Matt Hardy on the house show loop for a whole year. Jesus Christ.
great.
But yeah, that was that.
That was that. It was good. It's now 25-1 in the morning. I had 2 hours sleep last night. I am very tired. That is good shit. good shit, pal. Andrew, tell the people where they may find you on the soch.
At AD Thompson __. Find me on the YouTube, Andrew Thompson interviews. Got another one coming out.
Custom URL.
Custom URL officially. So yeah, go check me out right there. And all my work over at the Post Wrestling site.
Indeed, it's very good. It's good shit. Guys, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at ACEcast_nation, Facebook.com/ACEcastnation, and YouTube.com/ACEpodcastnation. Please subscribe, click the bell for notifications, and you can also find audio versions of everything at your usual podcasting apps and radio platforms. Andrew, thank you for joining me, my friend.
No problem.
It's been a pleasure. I'm looking a bit disheveled now and a bit tired, but I appreciate your time, my brother.
Funhouse.
Yeah, I feel like it. I'm like, ooh, trippy, boy. But I'm ready to bed now. My hair's falling out. I'm so tired. Look, there you go. My long hair. I had a good time, Andrew, talking to you again. It's always a good time, my friend.
No doubt, brother.
I've just done 4 hours of podcasting this evening, and apart from the amount of pain I'm in, I had a good time because I was joined by good people. For sure. Guys, we will see you next time. We'll be, I think we said next week, wasn't it?
Yeah, when when AEW and NXT do the double title matches. So
good shit, pal. Play that meme one more time before I play the outro.
Here we go. And